Look, right now, I want you to stop for a second and think about something, a promise you made to yourself. Not to anyone else, not to the world, but to you. That promise, yes, that one is the blueprint of your life, the whisper of your potential, and the spark that can ignite a fire so powerful it changes everything. You see, most people wait for the world to validate them, to tell them they're ready, but the truth is the world doesn't decide, you do. And when you make a promise to yourself and actually honor it, something incredible happens. Fear loses its grip. Doubt becomes irrelevant, and you start walking in alignment with your highest vision. The power of commitment to yourself is one of the most transformative forces you can harness in your life, and yet it is often the most overlooked. When you make a promise to yourself, you are stepping into a sacred contract with the one person who will never leave you, never betray you, and never abandon you, yourself. This commitment is not about fleeting motivation or temporary excitement. It is about creating a standard, a line in the sand that says, I will honor my word no matter what. It is the foundation of integrity and self-respect, because integrity is not something we display to others. It is something we cultivate internally. When you keep your promises to yourself, you start to trust your own decisions, your own judgment, and your own ability to follow through. This trust is a rare and powerful currency in life because it becomes the lens through which every other decision, every other interaction, and every other goal is measured. Without this commitment, even the most ambitious dreams can be sabotaged by hesitation, procrastination, or self-doubt. But the moment you decide to honor a promise to yourself, you are sending a signal not just to the world, but to your own subconscious that you are someone who follows through, someone who is reliable, someone whose word matters. The energy that flows from this alignment is tangible. It changes the way you move through the world, the way you interact with others, and the way opportunities respond to you. This is not an abstract concept. It is a living, breathing force that grows stronger each time you honor your word. Even the smallest promises, like committing to a daily practice, a habit, or an act of self-care, accumulate over time, creating a compound effect that elevates every aspect of your life. The key is consistency. Every time you choose to honor your commitment, even when it is inconvenient, uncomfortable, or challenging, you are reinforcing a muscle of self-discipline and inner strength. This is where true transformation begins, not in grand gestures, but in the daily acts of following through. And it is important to recognize that this commitment is deeply personal. It is not about impressing others or proving anything externally. It is about creating a life that aligns with your deepest values and highest vision. The sense of pride, confidence, and clarity that emerges from honoring your promises to yourself becomes a lighthouse in times of uncertainty, a steady anchor when chaos surrounds you, and a source of courage when fear threatens to pull you backward. People often underestimate how much their external success is tied directly to the internal promises they keep. You cannot build a life of significance if you continuously break the most fundamental promises you make to the one person who matters most, yourself. When you understand that your word is your most powerful asset, everything changes. You start approaching challenges with determination rather than hesitation, opportunities with clarity rather than confusion, and relationships with authenticity rather than compromise. This is the essence of self-commitment. It transforms not just what you do, but who you are, how you think, and the way you perceive your own potential. Each promise kept becomes a stepping stone. Each act of alignment builds momentum, and each decision to honor yourself strengthens a foundation that nothing external can shake. This is why commitment to yourself is not optional, it is essential. Overcoming doubt and fear is one of the most critical steps in honoring a promise to yourself, because these two forces are the greatest saboteurs of human potential. Doubt whispers in your ear, planting questions about your worth, your ability, and your readiness, while fear erects invisible walls that make every action feel risky, uncertain, or even impossible. These are not mere obstacles. They are signals that you are stepping outside your comfort zone, that you are moving toward growth, and that the life you desire is demanding courage from you. The truth is, fear and doubt are universal. They do not discriminate. Every high achiever, every visionary, and every person who has ever succeeded has faced these internal adversaries. The difference lies not in the presence of fear, but in how you respond to it. Choosing to act despite fear, Choosing to move forward when doubt screams that you cannot is the defining moment that separates potential from reality. It begins with awareness, noticing when fear and doubt arise, understanding their source and refusing to let them dictate your choices. Most people try to ignore fear, hoping it will disappear, or they let doubt justify inaction, telling themselves they are not ready. But avoidance only strengthens these forces, making them more powerful and more controlling over time. The real power comes from confronting them head-on, from leaning into discomfort, and from proving to yourself that you are stronger than the limiting thoughts that try to hold you back. This requires a shift in mindset, a recognition that fear is not a signal to stop, but a signal that something meaningful is happening, that you are stretching beyond old boundaries, and that growth is on the other side. When you embrace fear and doubt as natural companions of progress rather than enemies to be eliminated, you unlock a level of resilience and determination that is unstoppable. Each time you take action in spite of fear, you build a record of proof that you are capable, that you are resourceful, and that your promises to yourself matter more than temporary discomfort. This is where courage is cultivated, not in the absence of fear, but in the repeated decision to honor your commitment regardless of it. It is also important to recognize the subtle ways doubt can creep into your life: hesitation, procrastination, seeking excessive validation, or minimizing your goals. By identifying these patterns, you reclaim control over your inner dialogue and redirect your energy toward decisive action, surrounding yourself with reminders of your capability, reflecting on past victories, and maintaining a clear vision of why you made your promise in the first place are practical ways to counter fear's influence. Ultimately, overcoming doubt and fear is not about becoming fearless. It is about becoming relentless, about refusing to let uncertainty dictate your choices, and about stepping fully into the power of your own potential. It is about proving to yourself over and over again that no internal obstacle is greater than the commitment you have made to honor your word, to live aligned with your values, and to pursue the life that only you can create. The mastery of doubt and fear transforms hesitation into action, inaction into progress, and dreams into reality, setting the stage for a life that is fully owned, fully lived, and fully aligned with the promise you made to yourself. Imagining the vision of your best self is one of the most powerful catalysts for personal transformation, because it creates a magnetic pull toward the life you are capable of living. Too often, people drift through life reacting to circumstances, influenced by external expectations and constrained by old habits, never stopping to consider who they could truly become if they made the deliberate choice to step into their highest potential. Your best self is not some distant, unattainable ideal. It is a version of you that already exists in possibility, waiting for you to claim it through conscious action, clarity of intention, and unwavering commitment. When you take the time to clearly define who you want to be, how you want to feel, and the impact you want to have, you create a mental blueprint that guides every decision, every action, and every thought. This vision becomes more than an idea. It becomes a force that pulls you forward, shaping your behavior, motivating persistence, and providing a framework for growth. Many people underestimate the power of this clarity because they focus only on external results or immediate gratification. But the truth is that who you become is the ultimate determinant of what you achieve. When you cultivate a vivid image of your best self, you begin to notice misalignments in your current life, habits, choices, and influences that no longer serve the person you are aspiring to be. This awareness is not about guilt or self-criticism. It is about consciousness, about understanding that every action either moves you closer to or further away from the life you are capable of creating. Living with this vision in mind transforms ordinary decisions into acts of intentionality. You start asking yourself, does this move me closer to the person I want to become? Does this honor the promise I made to myself? Every choice gains weight, and every action carries purpose. This vision also fuels resilience because when challenges arise, obstacles appear, or fear and doubt creep in, the image of your best self serves as a reference point, a reminder of what is possible and why the struggle matters. It keeps you anchored when external circumstances threaten to distract or derail you because you are no longer acting out of obligation or reaction. You are acting in alignment with a clear, compelling vision of who you are becoming. Furthermore, visualizing your best self is not merely a mental exercise. It is an energetic practice that transforms how you show up in the world. The confidence, clarity, and determination you cultivate internally radiate outward, influencing your interactions, opportunities, and the perception others have of you. It becomes a self-fulfilling dynamic. The more clearly you see yourself at your highest, the more naturally your behavior, habits, and choices align with that vision. This alignment bridges the gap between who you are today and who you are capable of becoming, creating momentum, power, and a sense of inevitability in your pursuit of excellence. Imagining your best self is the cornerstone of personal evolution, a deliberate act of ownership over your life, and a declaration that you will not settle for mediocrity or external validation when the highest version of yourself is within reach. By holding this vision with unwavering focus, you ignite the inner drive that propels you past the limitations, accelerates growth, and amplifies the impact you are capable of making. Action as transformation is one of the most critical principles in turning a promise to yourself into a lived reality, because it is the bridge between intention and impact. Too many people spend their lives planning, thinking, and dreaming, yet they fail to take the decisive steps necessary to create change. Action is what converts potential energy into kinetic energy. It is the tangible expression of commitment, the proof that your word carries power, and the mechanism through which transformation occurs. Making a promise to yourself is not enough on its own. It becomes meaningful only when it is followed by deliberate, consistent action. Every small step taken toward honoring that promise compounds over time, building momentum, reinforcing self-discipline, and strengthening the belief that you are capable of change. Transformation does not happen in grand gestures alone. It happens in the consistent choices, the repeated efforts, and the daily acts of courage that show up even when motivation wanes or circumstances are difficult. Action also transforms identity because the way you behave shapes the person you become. When you act in alignment with your promises, you begin to internalize the qualities required to fulfill them: resilience, focus, integrity, and courage. Each step forward reinforces these traits, creating a feedback loop where behavior shapes identity and identity shapes further behavior. The act of doing, especially when it challenges fear or doubt, becomes a statement of empowerment. You are no longer a passive observer of your life, but an active architect of it. Moreover, action amplifies clarity. The moment you start moving, you gain insight into what works, what doesn't, and what adjustments are necessary to stay aligned with your promise. Waiting for perfect conditions or absolute certainty is a trap that keeps people stuck in analysis and indecision. But action illuminates the path. It reveals gaps, opportunities, and hidden strengths that could never be discovered through thought alone. Consistent action also creates credibility, not just in the eyes of others, but in the eyes of yourself. When you follow through, your confidence grows, your self-trust deepens, and you create a foundation from which even larger goals become attainable. There is a unique alchemy that happens when intention is combined with action. Momentum is generated, resistance diminishes, and the impossible becomes achievable. This is why action is transformative. It changes your circumstances, but more importantly, it changes you. It turns abstract ideals into lived experience, turning a vision of your best self into a reality that is palpable and undeniable. Action, when aligned with purpose, cultivates a sense of agency that empowers you to navigate challenges with resourcefulness and determination. It turns fear into fuel, doubt into data, and obstacles into stepping stones. Without action, promises remain empty words. With action, they become a living testament to your commitment, a declaration to yourself and the world that you are serious about, your potential, and a mechanism through which the life you envision is steadily created, refined, and expanded. Every deliberate step taken in the pursuit of your promise initiates a ripple effect, impacting not only your own trajectory, but also the energy, inspiration, and opportunities that flow around you, reinforcing that transformation is an active, ongoing process, not a passive outcome, and that unstoppable momentum is the force that propels you forward once you have committed to yourself, faced your fears, envisioned your best self, and taken consistent action. Momentum is not simply movement. It is the cumulative effect of repeated decisions, focused energy, and relentless pursuit of your goals. Once you start honoring your promises and aligning your actions with your highest vision, each step you take becomes a building block, creating a velocity that carries you beyond hesitation, doubt, and external obstacles. This momentum is self-reinforcing. Every action you take validates your capability. Every small victory fuels confidence, and every challenge overcome adds to the strength of your forward motion. Many people underestimate how critical momentum is, thinking that success relies solely on talent, luck, or perfect timing. But the truth is that momentum transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes. When you are moving in alignment with your commitments, the energy you generate begins to attract opportunities, resources, and relationships that support your path, often in ways that seem almost effortless. Momentum also shifts your mindset. Once you experience the power of consistent action, fear and doubt lose their grip because you have proven repeatedly that you can rise above them. You begin to trust in your own capacity to navigate uncertainty, adapt to challenges, and leverage setbacks as fuel for growth. This trust accelerates your progress because indecision and hesitation are replaced by clarity, decisiveness, and confidence. Another critical aspect of momentum is that it creates a sense of inevitability. When you are fully engaged in your purpose, committed to your promises, and consistently taking action, it becomes increasingly difficult for circumstances to derail you. Challenges may arise, but instead of stopping your progress, they serve as catalysts for creativity, resilience, and innovation. Momentum is contagious as well. It radiates outward, inspiring those around you, creating a ripple effect of energy, motivation, and engagement. When others witness your commitment, consistency, and progress, they are drawn to your vision, providing support, collaboration, and encouragement that further amplifies your forward movement. The key to sustaining momentum is maintaining alignment with your highest intentions. It requires conscious attention to your energy, focus, and actions, ensuring that each step continues to reinforce the trajectory you're creating. Pauses are natural, but stagnation is not. Momentum thrives on continuous, deliberate engagement. Each small success builds on the previous one, compounding over time into breakthroughs that would have seemed impossible at the start. It is the accumulation of these consistent efforts that makes long-term transformation not only possible, but inevitable. Momentum also transforms your relationship with challenges and setbacks. Instead of viewing obstacles as barriers, you begin to see them as part of the process, opportunities to test your resolve, refine your approach, and deepen your commitment. This perspective creates resilience that is unshakable because it is rooted not in external circumstances, but in the ongoing force of your own energy and determination. In essence, unstoppable momentum is a living proof of what happens when a promise to yourself is honored with clarity, courage, and consistent action. It is the force that carries you beyond fear, doubt, and hesitation, ensuring that each step forward creates a compounding effect, amplifying progress and setting in motion a trajectory of growth, achievement, and transformation that is self-sustaining and continuously expanding, showing that